For as long as humans have lived in organized societies, one thing has never changed: our obsession with punishment. From brutal public spectacles to ingenious contraptions designed to prolong suffering, history reveals just how far people were willing to go in the name of justice. Some of these punishments were meant to terrify, others to entertain, but all of them leave us asking one chilling question: how could humanity be so creative in cruelty? Ancient public spectacle. Long before prisons and courtrooms, punishment was a public affair. In the earliest civilizations, executions weren't hidden behind walls. They were staged as massive events, designed to terrify and entertain at the same time. One of the oldest and simplest methods was stoning. It didn't require elaborate tools, just a crowd and an endless supply of rocks. The entire community would gather, and with each stone thrown, the message was clear: break the rules, and this could be you. Beyond delivering death, stoning bound the crowd together in a shared act of justice, making everyone both witness and executioner. The arena of beasts. As societies grew, so did their appetite for spectacle. In the ancient East, rulers began turning wild animals into executioners. Criminals were thrown before starving lions, tigers, or bears, with no chance of survival. What began as punishment quickly evolved into a gruesome form of entertainment. Rome took this idea to new extremes, staging executions in packed arenas where crowds cheered as predators ripped their victims apart. To the rulers, it wasn't just justice. It was a display of power, reminding everyone that disobedience ended in blood. Rome's brutality. Rome didn't just rely on animals. The empire turned execution itself into theater. Convicted criminals were often forced into gladiatorial combat, not as fighters, but as living sacrifices. Unlike trained gladiators, they were given no weapons, no chance of victory, only the certainty of a violent end. And for the Romans, that was the point. Another horror was quartering. In its earliest forms, oxen or even bent trees were used to tear a body apart, limb by limb. The pieces of the condemned were sometimes displayed publicly, a grotesque warning nailed into the very heart of the city. These weren't just punishments. They were carefully staged performances of fear. Asia's cruel ingenuity. While Rome shocked with blood and spectacle, the East perfected punishments that were slower, more haunting, and far more intimate. In ancient China, one of the most infamous methods was bamboo torture. Prisoners were tied down over freshly planted shoots, their bodies pressed to the soil. Bamboo can grow nearly 8 centimeters a day, and as it pushed upward, it pierced flesh and bone, turning nature itself into the executioner. The process was agonizing and drawn out, sometimes lasting days. This terrifying method spread to places like Sri Lanka and Vietnam, where other fast-growing plants were used in similar ways. Unlike Rome's arenas, these punishments weren't about crowds cheering. They were about fear that grew silently, inch by inch. The bronze bull and medieval horrors. If bamboo turned nature into a weapon, Greece turned metal into a nightmare. The bronze bull was a hollow statue, designed to roast its victims alive. Once a person was locked inside, a fire was lit beneath the bull, heating the metal until screams echoed like the bellowing of the beast itself. The most chilling detail? According to legend, the very inventor of the device was forced to test it, becoming the first to perish in his own creation. Centuries later in medieval Europe, cruelty found new shapes. One of the most dreaded punishments was the boiling cauldron. Victims were lowered into vats of scalding water, oil, or tar, their suffering dragged out for hours. Reserved for the worst offenders, like poisoners or accused witches, it wasn't just death, it was torment by design. Witch hunts and fiery deaths. By the late Middle Ages, fear and faith collided in one of history's darkest chapters, the witch hunts. Across Europe, thousands were condemned not for crimes of violence, but for whispers of sorcery. The punishment was almost always the same: burning at the stake. The Spanish Inquisition alone claimed tens of thousands of lives, turning fire into both a weapon and a warning. To authorities, the flames symbolized purification. To the victims, it was a slow, agonizing end watched by entire towns. These weren't just executions. They were theater wrapped in religion, where fear of the supernatural was used to tighten control over society. Innovations of death. As Europe moved into the Renaissance and beyond, executions didn't fade, they evolved. In 16th century Scotland, the maiden made its debut. A primitive guillotine, armed with a 33-kilogram blade that dropped cleanly, separating head from body in an instant. Locals treated it as Saturday entertainment, gathering to watch its brutal efficiency. Then came the infamous Iron Maiden, a towering metal sarcophagus lined with spikes. Victims shut inside were pierced from every angle, left to bleed slowly in the dark. Though historians debate how often it was truly used, the image of it alone became a symbol of medieval cruelty. And in 1857, England witnessed something even more grotesque: devil's wind. Prisoners were tied to the mouths of cannons, and with a single blast, their bodies were torn apart in front of shocked onlookers. It was both punishment and spectacle, a reminder that innovation could be as terrifying in death as it was in life. Modern execution methods. The march of progress didn't end brutality. It simply disguised it in science and machinery. In 1890, the electric chair made its debut, born from the belief that electricity could deliver a quick and civilized death. Instead, many executions turned into gruesome spectacles, with bodies convulsing and smoke rising in front of horrified witnesses. By 1921, the gas chamber promised a new solution. Prisoners were sealed inside as lethal fumes crept in. Death could take half an hour, leaving victims gasping and clawing at the air. What was sold as modern efficiency often became a slow, torturous ordeal. Finally came the lethal injection in 1977, presented as the most humane method yet. But reality was far more complicated. Early formulas caused minutes of silent suffering as prisoners struggled to breathe. Even today, the debate rages on. Is it truly painless, or just another mask for society's oldest obsession? Finding new ways to kill in the name of justice. From stones cast by ancient villagers to chemicals delivered in sterile chambers, the history of punishment is a mirror reflecting humanity's darkest impulses. Every age believed its methods were justified, whether through religion, fear, or the promise of order. But behind each execution was more than just punishment. It was spectacle, power, and the chilling reminder that cruelty often hides beneath the banner of justice. Looking back now, these methods seem barbaric, almost unthinkable. Yet they force us to ask, how will future generations judge the ways we punish today? History shows us that punishment was never just about justice. It was about control, fear, and sometimes even entertainment. But now I want to hear from you. Which of these methods shocked you the most? Was it the bronze bull, the bamboo torture, or the so-called modern executions that claimed to be humane? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading them. If you found this journey through history as fascinating as it was chilling, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the stories history tried to bury. Because trust me, What's coming next is even darker.